Hello, this is Team 39, Section 6's International Market Entry presentation for International Business 580. For our project, we are presenting on Lifestraw and its market entry into the Thailand market. First, I'm going to give an overview of Thailand, go over its current economic and political environments. Then I'll discuss Hofstede's social cultural factors at play in Thailand, and then lastly, I'll discuss our market entry strategy for Lifestraw into the Thai marketplace. So, Thailand has a population of just under 70 million, which makes it the 20th most populated country in the world. They have experienced a steep increase since the mid-1900s, causing the government to work to minimize the population boom. The population forecast looks to remain around the 70 million mark for some time in the future, though. Some of the top economic drivers for Thailand are their exports, and most notably their automotive parts. They're the largest automotive distributor among the Asian countries, which is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And companies such as Ford, BMW, Honda, and Toyota have invested heavily into the production of parts and vehicles there. Other major exports include electronics, machinery, and agricultural products. Some current events are mainly surrounding the pandemic. The second wave has hit the economy extremely hard for the past 2 years. Their GDP contracted by 2.6% in the first quarter of 2021, and this followed a 6.1% drop in GDP in 2020, which is one of the steepest contractions among Asian member states. However, the recovery is expected to accelerate in 2022, with the annual GDP growth rate projected to rise to 5.1%, depending on several what-ifs, including a solid progress on domestic vaccination rates and an improvement in the trajectory of COVID-19 around the world, which would make their international tourism a little bit more viable. Another important note to add is that employment in agriculture declined by 10.9% in the country, but employment in all other sectors increased by 2.5%, in line with recovery in global demand for good exports. The automotive and construction industries are also posted the highest quarterly rates of employment growth at 3.3% and 7.5% respectively. The government has earmarked about 1 trillion baht in public spending for economic stimulus and support to the most vulnerable households. Around 70% of the authorized COVID-19 response spending has been allocated to support households largely through cash transfers and subsidies, with a smaller share being directed to support the recovery of the private sector. So, Thailand's economic environment. Thailand is the second largest economy in Asia after Indonesia. It's an upper middle income economy with an open economy and a GDP of $503.5 billion and a negative 6.1% annual growth in 2020. Thailand is an export-dependent economy. Thailand exported a total of $226.7 billion worth of goods in 2020, with the U.S. being their top export market at 15%, followed by China at 13% and Japan at 10%. So what they export are mainly motor cars, parts and accessories, electronic goods and computers, precious stones and jewelry, rubber products, and plastics. So for their political environment, Thailand is a constitutional monarchy in which the prime minister is the head of government and a monarch is head of state. Normally, Thailand's government is divided into 3 branches: the executive, legislative, and judiciary branches. Within the judiciary, usually independent of the former 2 branches, though recent rulings appear to be founded more on political agendas than established law. The judiciary branch in Thailand is made up of 4 systems: the military court, the court of justice system, the administrative court system, and the constitutional court. Thailand's government has varied substantially in form since 1932. 20 constitutions and charters have been in place since then, right up to the latest one in 2017, resulting in Thailand having the 4th most coups in the world. Yet despite the government frequently changing from dictatorships to election-based democracies and back again, the hereditary monarchy has always been acknowledged as the head of state. The 2014 coup overturned the 2007 Constitution of Thailand, replacing it with a unicameral National Legislative Assembly. The coup also resulted in the declaration of martial law, a nationwide curfew, the banning of political gatherings, the arrest of politicians and anti-coup activists, internet censorship, and loss of control of the free media. So for Hofstede's social cultural factors, Thailand scores the highest in power distance and uncertainty avoidance, while scoring low on individualism, long-term orientation, and masculinity, and intermediate in indulgence. So knowing about Hofstede's dimensions gives us a better idea of what the society is like and what the country might react well to. So the high score of power distance of 64 is lower than the average Asian country score of 71, but this means that Thailand is a country that values hierarchy and structure, and a strict chain of command must be followed. They also have a high score of uncertainty avoidance at 64 as well. Thai society in general likes to avoid uncertainty, and they're a risk-averse society who is resistant to change. Lifestraw's products help ease the uncertainty of water scarcity and safety, which would be a benefit when entering this market. Individualism is low with a score of 20, which was the lowest of all their scores, meaning that society values the collective, the opinions of the group carry great weight, and interpersonal relationship will be key to Lifestraw's success within the market. Their long-term orientation is a score of 32, so this means that how society thinks about the future. So the relatively low score in this dimension means that Thai society values tradition and doesn't tend to focus as much on the future impact. Masculinity was also low with a score of 34, which is way lower than most Asian counterparts, a score of 53 on average. This means that more traditional male and female roles are more prominent in Thai society. And their indulgence score of 45 is right about middle of the road, so it's kind of hard to determine one way or the other. But this indulgence factor deals with how people within society can control their impulses and desires. So now we're going to talk about the market penetration strategy for entering Thailand. So the job to be done. Currently, there's a moment of struggle, so contaminated water can transmit diseases such as diarrhea, cholera, dysentery, typhoid, and polio, according to the WHO. And it's reported that 1/3 of the surface water is of poor quality in Thailand, according to the Water Project. And although access to clean water is better than most countries, there is still a concern about access to clean water in Thailand. So the job to be done is to introduce an economical, convenient water filtration product that helps people in Thailand have access to clean water. So Lifestraw, in our product description, Lifestraw is a portable water filter straw that filters a maximum of 4,000 liters of water, which is approximately enough for one person for 3 years. Lifestraw does not involve any chemical or electrical filtration of water and removes almost all waterborne bacteria, microplastics, and parasites. So the competitive landscape within the water purifier market, the size of the market is projected to be worth $127.24 billion by 2028, registering a compounded annual growth rate of 17.37% during that period, from 2021 to 2028. The market was valued at $46.61 billion in 2020. Water purifiers are systems or equipment used for purifying drinking water. Water purifiers function using different technologies such as activated carbon, UV technology, and reverse osmosis. Owing to an increase in the contaminants, dissolved solids, chemical substances, and other materials, the need for water purifiers has increased over the years. So regional analysis. Based on region, the report on the water purifier market has been segmented into North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, and the rest of the world. Key competitors are the growth of vendors is dependent on the market conditions, the government support, and industrial development. Thus, the vendors should focus on expanding their presence and improving their services. Some vendors that would be competing with us are A.O. Smith, Unilever, Eco Water Systems, Panasonic Corporation, Koway, Kent RO Systems, LiftPure, and some other key players that operate in the global market. So for the second part of our competitive landscape, a driver is technological innovations. Ever since their inception, water treatment systems have undergone tremendous technological innovations and developments. Capacitive deionization is one of the emerging and promising technologies used for the removal of ionic as well as polarizable species from water. It is an alternative to membrane-based technology, having low operational costs, enhanced energy efficiency, and less water ejection. Demineralization, softening, decarbonization, and nanofiltration are some of the latest technologies that have come up in recent times. Although there are many advanced water treatments available, the technologies implemented in low-cost Point-of-use treatment systems are mainly characterized as mature and fundamental, which aims at removing waterborne pathogens. The technologies that are available in the market are mainly flocculation and coagulation, filtration and disinfection. Flocculation and coagulation remove the turbidity in the water, thereby reducing the supporting structure of microorganisms. This process helps in the removal of microorganisms. Filtration removes microorganisms by size exclusion. Microorganisms larger than the pore size of the filter will be retained within the system. Disinfection is the inactivation and destruction of microorganisms in the system to a safe level, making it consumable for our regular usage. Through R&D and various new technologies have been developed and brought into practice by manufacturers. Companies such as Pentair and Best Water Technology are particularly focused on developing new technologies through innovations in the point-of-use water treatment system market. These technologies have helped in the growth of POU, or point-of-use water treatment systems. So another point, trade agreements. This is something that is important when talking about how we're going to sell within Thailand. So Lifestraw products are manufactured in Vietnam. The RCEP, or the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, is a free trade agreement between all 10 countries in the Asian trade agreement that we had discussed previously. Since both Vietnam and Thailand are members of ASEAN, there will be no tariffs associated when exporting from Vietnam to Thailand. So our market entry strategy would be through, first, distribution. So when entering Thailand's market, Lifestraw should partner with a local agent or distributor that has extensive knowledge about Thailand's market and that knows other key businesses. Thai law does not require the use of an agent or distributor, but it is the most efficient and effective way to enter the market. The best way to locate a right agent or distributor would be through the International Partner Search Service, which allows companies to find distributors that are interested in selling their products. The distribution channel will then go as follows. Export the product to the distributor. From there, the products will go to the retailers and then the consumers. This can allow Lifestraw to be sold from retail stores within Thailand. Thailand has around 250,000 retail outlets throughout the country. Our second method of selling would be through e-commerce. Thailand has a growing e-commerce market. It's been growing at a rapid pace in recent years and is expected to continue to do so in the future. Thailand has the 26th largest market for e-commerce with $8 billion in 2020 in sales. Two of the most popular e-commerce websites in Thailand are Lazard.co and Shopee.co. Lazada is the #1 e-commerce website in Thailand, and it is available in most Asian countries as well. Shopee is another popular online retailer in Thailand, and it's owned by Tencent, who you might have heard that owns TikTok as well. Selling products through one or both of these popular Thai websites will be another great way for Lifestraw to enter the market in Thailand. So that is it. That is our presentation. Thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed our presentation, that you were able to learn something about Lifestraw and the Thai market. References are in the last slide of this presentation. Thanks, and have a good one.